welcome to Nerdy for the podcast, where I, Amy Brown, ask interesting people what they're nerdy for. I have a very interesting person here in my costume chamber. I have the most wonderful Sally Brooks.
Hello.
Hi, Sally. I want to tell everybody how cool you are. So
okay, awesome. Yes, this is my favorite part of any podcast. Please give my credits.
10-time Oscar winner. No. So Sally Brooks moved to Atlanta 5 years ago. I was so excited when you moved here because I'm going to sound 1,000 years old. I'm like, oh, it's another lady comedian. And you are a touring headliner. And so I was like, a successful lady comedian I could talk to. And I was so like trying not to sound too desperate and asking dumb questions, I'm sure. But I was like, every time I asked you one question, I had 10 like I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to be that girl.
I think you were on like one of the very first shows that I did in town. You and Kristen were both on that show at Mad Life.
Did we cornered you, didn't we?
Like a little bit, but it was interesting because I think at that time, like everybody. Like, I remember it was maybe Allie Edge, too.
Oh, it's an all-women's cast.
It was an all-women's show.
Laugh lines and stretch marks. Shout out Heather Tolley-Bauer.
Yes. Great show. Very fun. An audience full of women. So it was very fun.
Drunk women, ready to laugh.
Yeah. And I remember everybody was like, so were you in Lace's class? And I was like, no, who's Lace? Like, what is happening? I don't understand. Like, I didn't understand the reach.
Yeah, they were like, wait, a woman in comedy? And you didn't go through Lace Larrabee?
You didn't go to Lace? I was like, Lace from New York.
What's like hating women?
I came from New York. Like, street cred. Did you hear that? I came from New York. Yeah, so Lace Larrabee has this wonderful class, and she is turning out an army of women comedian. In Atlanta, she's doing the Lord's work. But so every time you meet a new woman comedian, you assume that it's a new lady comedian that's graduated the class and she's hitting the streets.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, it's amazing. It does mean that Atlanta has like per capita more women comedians than most places. And certainly more places than like I've ever lived.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's really,
it's like women of all, like, and not just young women, like women of all ages, women with different experiences. It's very...
Yeah,
it's very cool.
I completely agree. Mm-hmm. I've learned a lot from going to some of the graduations and seeing like, oh wow, this lady used to sell drugs and was in jail, and she's hilarious
and hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Also, you are now an author.
Yeah. Well, I have a book coming out. It's not coming out until September 2024, which is a long time away.
Are you doing an Audible for it? Are you going to read it?
There will be an audiobook. I don't know if I'll be reading it. Hopefully.
We'll so see exciting.
So that it's just, it's crazy how long it takes. This is my first book. I wrote it over many years, and then I got a book contract November of 2022.
This is amazing.
I've spent this year with an editor and doing all the book things, and then everything is finished. Like, it is finalized. I will not touch it again, and it still will not come out until September. So everybody's like, when's your book coming out? I'm like, I don't know, man. Never.
It's like a baby. You got to put it in the oven for a while. And then
yes, it's so, for people who are like used to instant gratification, it's just not happening. Like, it's going to be a while.
I'm so excited. I'm actually, maybe we could talk about this later on in the podcast, but I'm writing a book, and I'm very curious about all those pieces of how you find somebody. And
I have learned a lot. I'm happy to share everything I've learned.
I'm going to put a little star next to author, because I want to make sure at the top of my podcast we talk about your podcast that you do with Jen O'Neill, who's also been on the podcast before, and you had a podcast that was about murder and love for a while, and the murder got to be too much, and now you've changed it, and it's called the Ridiculist.
Good.
Yay.
You did it.
I said a fancy word.
We're all so proud. We're so proud.
So when I host comedy shows, it's a hate crime sometimes, because I'm so dyslexic, and then I even mess up just regular names like Mike Mendez at the Laughing Skull. He has a regular name. It's like, and then I was like, Menendez Low. And he's like, what are you saying? I said it into the mic. It's a problem. Anyway, yeah, the person who can't read English is writing a book.
That's perfect.
But talk about your new podcast. I listened to the a couple episodes, and I love the one we had a chef guy on.
Oh yeah, Dustin Harder.
He's real sassy. I like a sassy.
He's
boy.
an amazing. He's one of Jen's like best friends and has become a good friend of mine too. And he is like an amazing celebrity chef, but he also has been an actor. He's been a presenter. He had a vegan travel show.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he's just amazing. And so he is like, brings the energy. Like he's a real pro. So it's great having him as a guest because it makes us look good.
Well, he was really good at telling Jen she looks like crap all the time.
I think they have that like sibling relationship. You know?
Was charming the way he said
it. And of course she's over there like, I know you're right, but she looks perfect every time. You're like, okay.
Yeah, she's very attractive.
She always. We do. Do you ever Marco Polo? Do you know the
Marco
Polo
the game, or is this like when you're mean to somebody on purpose?
No,
negging. What kind of sexy stuff are you into? Do you tie Jen up? What's happening?
It's an app, a video app, like where you video message back and forth.
Yes,
I mean, but also, you know, I suppose you could use it for sex games. We don't, but my point is that Jen
just text Jen, like, hey, I just thought of a new podcast. A lot of comics getting OnlyFans.
I mean, you know, more power to them, but it is, you know, just a video chat back and forth. But we will video, you know, send messages rather than texting. And she's always like, just whatever light she's in, she looks gorgeous. Whatever, she'll be coming from the gym. She'll be like, I just came from hot yoga. And I'm like, really? And
she doesn't have those like bags under the eyes.
No.
That humans, she might be a vampire. Is she a vampire?
I think that is her secret.
I have a friend who's a vampire. Yeah. So
like in real life?
Well, yeah, she's not aging, and
we
no one knows how old she is.
Is she in your closet?
You're like, well, hold on.
I know. I was like, can we time out? I know this is about me.
Oh, she drinks blood, and she's gonna come over later.
She sleeps in a coffin. I mean,
she only drinks vodka. Actually, this friend, so she might be pickled.
I mean, if that's the secret.
Okay, so Jen's hot, but talk about the so you guys go through.
Was that
lists.
your notes, Amy? You're like,
yeah. Fine, I've heard enough. Jen's hot all the time.
You guys check her out. She's
Is she still on the market?
No, off the market.
Never mind. Don't check her out.
But still check her out.
So you can check her out. It's like appreciating a beautiful tree.
Right?
It's nature.
It's nature.
beautiful tree. You ever look at a tree and be like, I'll do things to that tree.
Yeah. I like a nice hardwood.
Can I tell you that from my time as a true crime / true love podcaster, so our old podcast Dumb Love was about all the dumb things people do for love. A lot of times that was murder, and sometimes we told like crazy love stories. But what we found a plethora of was that there are people and now I'm not going to objectophilia.
Ooh.
So people who
I'm gonna write that word
fall
down.
in love with objects, and there is like a subset of that. So there's a story of like a woman who fell in love with a plane wing. And so she would go visit this plane wing, and then she would fell in love. She finally she married it.
What? Was this in a European country? That would not fly.
It was in a European country.
That would not fly.
It's everywhere
in the
though.
United
It's
States.
a real
Get it
thing.
Fly? Sorry, that's stupid. But
yeah, but there's a subset of it of people who are they're in love with nature. Like they think that every time they walk on the earth, you're like having a sexual experience with the earth. And I'm guessing they're like,
are they on ecstasy?
I think they're like screwing tree holes, you know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's a real thing though.
A glory hole of nature.
Yeah. A lot of the cases people either have it's a higher rate of people with subjectophilia have autism, and then some of them also have what is it? Synesthesia. What is this word? SYNAE.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's when they see colors and like different letters have a color to go with them.
Yeah.
Mateo Lane has that.
I wonder if...
And then he can learn I don't think he's humping weird things. He's a very successful, attractive gay comedian in New York, and he can speak but he can speak a lot of languages. And that's because hello, how are you gets associated with a color. And so he can remember all the different German and Italian, and it's attached to the color.
That's amazing.
So it's kind of cheating. I'm going to put that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, our new podcast.
Sorry. I'm just trying to think what it must feel. I am trying to remember falling in love because that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that feeling of like you're electric and like, oh, I can't wait to see them. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see my favorite oak tree.
There was a woman who fell in love with a Ferris wheel, like at a fair.
Okay.
And then she would go visit it every year when it would come to like her fair or
Oh, a traveling
Ferris wheel.
With a girl in every port.
And then
It's like a sailor.
they took it out of commission and she was like devastated. It was like the love of her life. And so then she finally found it and she bought it and she took it out to a farm and now she lives with it. I thought I'm for it.
That's amazing. Well,
Because it's like, you know,
the Ferris wheel can't drive you to the hospital.
well, I mean, you know, but also Ferris wheel can't do a lot of
Other things
other
You're
things
right.
too.
Yeah, Ferris wheel can't cheat on you. Can't spend all your money at on lottery tickets or gambling. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, it is a real. We did enough stories of it that you're like, this is a real thing.
That's fascinating.
And it's fascinating.
The human brain, the older I get and the more I go through perimenopause, the human brain is a wild ride. Like, whoa, I feel like, did you watch Anti-Mame? No. Sorry, not Anti-Mame. The one about Joan Crawford, Mommy Dearest. Did you watch Mommy Dearest?
I did not watch Mommy Dearest.
It's a gay icon movie. I had gay uncles, and she's like a bipolar alcoholic, and she beats her children with wire hangers, and she's like, no more wire hangers. And she's like the bad person, but now I know she was just perimenopausal, and she needed some.
She was like, everything is crazy. I'm anxious now. I'm happy now. I haven't had my period in years.
She's the victim here. they didn't have hormone replacements.
Yeah.
And then she was, instead of hormones, she was doing highballs. And so she was, it's interesting getting older and looking back and reflecting on things.
Oh, and having, the perspective that you have now of like who you think are the heroes in certain movies and who you're like, the adults, like the asshole kids are assholes. Yeah. That's why the adults wouldn't let them, get up to their business.
Home Alone. Did you have a different perspective watching that as a busy mother trying to get your entire family to get into the airplane and to go to France over the holidays? Who's going to Paris for Christmas with small children? Shoot me now.
Extended family? No, thank you.
Extended family and then paying for everybody? Oof. Oh my God. Don't get me started. That little kid deserved to sleep in the attic.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we talking about? Oh, okay. Talk about the lists.
Okay. So we have shifted.
Okay.
We got
a listicle.
Listicles.
I didn't know what that was.
Oh, so they're just lists. They're lists. They're the lists on BuzzFeed. Like, it's the top craziest things that anybody's ever said to somebody else in a restaurant. You're like, great, let's share this. Like, it's anything you could think of. There is a list about, like,
some people have a lot of time on their hands.
People with a lot of time. I used to write that bullshit. Sorry, can I cuss?
You can do whatever you want.
I used to write that.
Take your top off.
Very highbrow content for the internets when I was like a touring comedian. That's what I did to like supplement my income.
That's
I
brilliant.
did like content writing, and I did a lot of like, here's a top 5 best places to travel in whatever Idaho, and I'm like, I'd never been there.
How'd you make it up? Did you just Google it?
You just Google it, and so that's I get
that impression.
That's why you should never trust those lists, because they're made by somebody who is trying to do it within 30 minutes so that it actually makes them money, because they have to write 30 of those in a day.
It's a desperate essay.
Yes.
It's 2.5 an hour.
Yeah. It is. We take everything from people on Reddit who are, so anyway, so we just we pick different lists each week and then we riff off of them, which is what we really want to do, is just like come up with our own stories. And yeah, it's like much more lighthearted, much more fun than Dumb Love. Even though we loved our old podcast, it just was true crime. We realized we were not made for it.
I think, right? I can't even watch a movie anymore if anything sad happens. I can't put that into my eyeballs and then go to sleep at night.
Yeah. I'm like, is it a baking show? Then no. Like, or is it a British baking show?
The British shout
then
out.
I don't want it.
The British baking show.
or a British pottery show.
You know what I like? I like a pottery. Oh, that's because you do pottery too.
I do pottery, yes.
Are you selling your pots?
No.
Then we're not going to talk about it.
Like, no one's allowed hobbies on this show.
No.
You have to monetize.
We're just going to talk. You're talking about the business at the top end, and then we can do fun at the end. It's like
Okay,
a
I'm
mullet.
sorry. I apologize.
Okay, so I want to ask you. So everyone, go listen to their podcast. They're adorable.
Thank you.
And it's relaxing to listen to you guys.
Thanks.
Yes. So, did you major in writing before you became an author?
No, I went to undergrad. I have a science degree.
Boo!
And then right?
Nerd. Get out of my costume closet. We have the rest of the house belongs to my scientist
Just
people.
me.
No.
The science paid for this costume closet.
This room is the only place that doesn't have science in it. My husband's a physicist. My son is doing aerospace engineering. My other son wants to major in
I
physics.
think all the electricity running in this room would beg to differ.
This is my little
Yeah.
place for creative people. That's what, I'll show you. Sorry to interrupt, but my husband's been doing Morse code, ham radio. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I don't know how long he's been doing it, but I'm from Dayton, Ohio, which is where we had the largest ham radio convention in the
gosh.
world that came to Dayton, Ohio every year.
I'm not going to tell my husband about it. He will be on the plane in a second.
Yeah.
I'll show you his setup. We have a huge tower outside now. Like he put a big wire. It's a whole thing. Okay, so
Is he like beep, 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 beep
yeah,
with other
like
people
he's got
across?
an earphone on, and I'm like, "What's happening?" All the gentlemen's invading. Like,
Were you like, you can just text someone, dude? Like it's
it's the weirdest thing. So he showed me a letter this morning. He talks to people, and then afterwards, you write a letter or a postcard to the person you talk to with the beep, 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 and then they send one back to you, and you talk about two things: where you live and three things: how strong your equipment is, and how big your antenna is. It is a pissing contest.
the most like
Dude thing.
like thinly veiled sexual thing I've ever heard. Like, here's how big my antenna is. Here's how strong my equipment is. And
Jealous, and everyone is in their early 70s.
Yeah.
It's young. We got one from a guy who was 87 this morning, and he's like, I've had a stroke, but I can still do and he wrote all about how big his antenna was.
does he? Okay. Do they write the postcards in the beep 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 beeps?
No,
They're not like dot
they
dash
talk-
dash dash dot dash, and then you have to decode it, and like he gets his like decoder ring out, and he's like,
I know a decoder ring is about right. They communicate together over the beep beeps, and then just a follow up. They send each other postcards. So nice to talk to you. This was my equipment. This is where I live. Some people are like, I'm so lonely. And I'm like, have you tried the internet? That's why it was invented. You could just get on Facebook. Okay.
wow.
I digress. So you majored in science.
I have to say that I actually really love that. I think it is what a lovely hobby and a fun way to connect with people. It's like the truest, oldest form of pen pal.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, it's
I love
really
it.
sweet.
It's
and
very
then
cute.
I like that he's talking to old lonely people.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of like volunteering. What I don't love is walking by his office and he's got his hand on his ear and he's like don't talk to me. I'm like, yeah, I know, a real life lady person.
He's like, if I do too many long dashes and not enough short dashes, they're gonna think I'm gonna spell something weird.
When he first got it set up, he came to that bed so late every night for like 2 weeks. He's just still like,
You were like, who are you talking to over the ham radios?
I'm a real life lady in your bed.
He already locked you down.
Yeah,
So
This is true.
He gave you a costume
he's like,
closet.
go to your costume closet, go to a comedy show. I have to talk to a man in Switzerland.
I have to talk to Ralph in Peoria.
Yeah, it's a lot of Midwest.
Yeah, I assume.
Okay, so you majored in science. What did you major in?
Health science.
Wait, what?
Well,
The birds and the bees, teaching them to middle schoolers?
Here's the thing. I was an engineering major. I was a chemical engineering major.
That's really good.
But I did was not great at and I didn't like it.
Oh,
and
that's not
so I was there for 5 years and went to my
victory lap.
advisor and was like, how can I graduate? And they were like, how about health science? And I was like, great. I was like, so I am a health scientist. Honestly, I don't know. I could not tell you what's inside a cell, which just makes my husband crazy because I'm like, I didn't retain anything. I was not a great student.
It's not going to come up. I don't think that ever comes up.
No. So I do have a science degree. I've never used it. I went and worked for a nonprofit after college, and then I went to law school.
You have a law degree?
I do have a law degree.
Well, they make you write a lot at law school.
They do make you write a lot. But I always was a writer. Like, I was always a writer. I very much should have I almost went to school for journalism, which I don't know if that would have been better, but I just did. I don't know. You know, when you're 18, you're like, I should do something cool. I don't know what I thought.
I know. Children get to decide what they're going to do.
I know. My mom was like,
insane.
you really like writing. Maybe you should go to journalism school. I was like, whatever.
Don't be the boss of me.
I'm going to be a chemical engineer.
Yeah. Maybe if she hadn't said anything, you would have.
Who knows? It all worked out. So yeah, I went to law school. I did that I then got a job where I worked for a federal judge. I did that for 3 years.
Ooh, fancy.
And while I was doing that, I had started taking stand-up comedy classes.
Yeah.
And so then after 3 years of that, my husband got a Fulbright in Hungary. I quit my job.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. What does he do?
He's a professor.
Of what?
Of leadership and ethics.
Ooh.
And,
the
soft stuff.
Rock hard. I like a smart guy.
Yes. Yeah. So we moved there, and then we moved to Hungary, and then we moved to West Virginia. And while we were in Hungary, I had these videos on YouTube that got huge. So I was like an early YouTube star.
Look at you.
And I had been barely doing comedy for like a year. I really was like brand new, but I had all these opportunities. And so when we moved to West Virginia for him to take his first job, I was like, listen, I don't want to be a lawyer, but I have all these, like I now can like tour a bit and I have these opportunities. So I am going to try to be a full-time stand-up. And that's what I did. And I just I had no business just doing what I was doing, but like I just kind of was like, well, we'll try it.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
First of all, I want to hear what it's like to be a woman touring comedian.
Uh-huh.
And how similar are Hungary and West Virginia?
I used to have a joke that was like it is the West Virginia of Europe.
Right?
Yes.
How many goats were pulling something that should have had an engine?
Oh man. One time we went on this, when we lived in Hungary, we rented a car and we were like, we're going to go to, Romania. Sorry. I was like, what was the country? We decided to go to Romania for the weekend, and we get not even right into the country, and the car breaks down. It was like one of those little European cars. It breaks down. We pop a tire, and this guy on a horse and buggy passes us on the road. He's like, do you need help? And we're like, I think we're fine. What are you going to do?
Now, do you think that was typical Hungarian behavior, or did they have Amish people there?
I think, this was in Romania. That was
that was definitely a vampire guy. You got to be careful.
For sure a vampire.
No Srirachus out there.
I think that it was pretty common in the area we were driving. It was very rural. We just turned around. We got the tire fixed and turned around. We're like, I think we're just going to call it a day.
Yeah.
We just go back to Hungary.
A false start.
Yeah, a false start.
Okay. So, I still want to talk about what it's like to write a book, but
okay.
I am curious, because they're like, not a lot of touring comedians that are ladies. Did you stay in the apartments that are provided for people? I hear.
I did.
I
did all the things.
Did you get pregnant from the sheets?
I did. I did all the things because I also, in comedy years, I started later. I started when I was 29 or 30, which, now seems very young. But at that time, I was the mom of the group, even though I didn't have any kids. but I was already married when I started.
Yeah.
So it was just a little different. Like people were generally very respectful. Like, yes. And during that time.
And they knew you had a law degree.
They had a law degree. I seemed very like, even though I wasn't a mom, I seemed like a mom lady. So I think people mostly, and I just am like, kind of don't take shit. I don't think I like really engender people like hitting on me as much. I don't think I'm not really the kind of person who.
That's good. Do you think they paid you what they were supposed to?
I think that I don't think that I got booked as much as I should have. And at the time in the Midwest, and that's not saying like, oh, I'm so amazing, but at that time in the Midwest, when I started and really till the most of the time I was touring, there was a hard rule of no two women on any show. So you could not get booked if I was going to be the host and the headliner was going to bring a female middle, they'd be like, no. Sorry, you're off the show. Yeah, it was like literally because they'd be like, oh, well, people don't want to come here.
They're going to get the stage all periody.
It'd be terrible to see more than one woman.
There's going to be lipstick on the microphone.
Let's not talk about having non-white
right?
people here.
Oh my God.
It's like no problem having three
all men.
20-year-old dudes talking about their dicks, but like, oh my God, a woman who might hit on the exact all right, maybe the same topics, which is, I mean, it's just very funny to me now that we're on shows with lots of women all the time. There's rarely that I am touching on the same things as another woman, even another mother, even another, like whatever, it's like even things we have in common. It's like, even if we're talking about similar things, we're talking about it in very different ways. Like,
yeah, there's different styles and delivery.
Which there's no problem. I mean, nobody ever, we could talk about that forever, but nobody ever has a problem with two men of the same age, two white dudes on the same show.
Did you like traveling and being away for the weekends?
I loved it.
Do you miss it at all? Or are you like, I want to be home with, because you have a child now.
I have a child now. Yeah. So most of my touring was done before I had Max. Like, so I was like a real road dog. I was on the road 45 weeks a year.
Oh my gosh.
Like gone weeks at a time. And I loved it. I loved traveling. I did get to the point where I was like, I need to do, like, there has to be something else. Like, this isn't sustainable. Like, it was sustainable for the years I did it. I loved it. My husband is like, he's just like the most amazing person. He's very like, go live your dream. You're happier out there. Have fun. He likes to be alone. It was fine. But then, of course, like, as soon as I had a kid, I was like, well, I don't want to be gone that much. So, I mean, I was still, when I first moved here, I was still touring probably like twice a month. And then the pandemic hit and I kind of was like, I really like being home. I like being home because I hadn't been home for 10 or 15 years. Like I'd been out at night. I'd been gone on the road and I just realized like, oh, it's kind of nice to like have dinner with your family. Or,
you're nesting.
It's great. So I did it last year. I put out an album and I was on the road a bunch. And then this year I just didn't. I didn't do any road work.
You're writing a book though. That takes
but
a
I
lot
just
of time.
was like, I was just kind of have been stuck close to home. But in answer to your question, which you asked like 10 minutes ago, sorry, I've been working all day like at my computer. So
how's your back feel?
Feels amazing. I'm like,
I have plantar fasciitis from laying in my bed and being on my laptop all day. Turns out if you don't use your legs, they stop working.
Your body's like, you don't use it, you lose it.
Do you remember in the Wizard of Oz when the house lands onto the witch and then they take her shoes off and her feet go under? That's how my feet are in the bed now because I haven't used them enough.
That's why you got to go run 0.7 miles.
Yes, I ran before our show today. 0.7 miles.
It's amazing.
Humble brag.
I went to the gym. I've started like a weightlifting.
Hey, you have
thing.
To. We have to be.
Right. I was like, my bones, my old bones. I got to get my calcium.
Yeah.
And I do feel, I'm like, I've done that over the years, like done weightlifting, and I haven't in a long time. And I'm like, I do feel markedly weaker.
Yeah. Oh, you're up again. I'm older than you. I'm 46.
That's how old I am.
Oh, you're 46. Okay. Let's chat because I have been researching perimenopause.
Yeah.
It can be up to 10 years
yeah,
before you
it's-
hit menopause. Your like your hormones are just going crazy because you're not having viable eggs every time you ovulate.
Yeah.
Joel, don't throw up. And
You talk about
I'm
all this
teasing.
stuff all the time on the show. I don't care.
It's like,
No,
I know more about perimenopause
Yeah.
than any man.
Yeah, my mom started going through menopause. She was like in her late 30s and talks to me about it all the time. She had no filter. That's why I get along with you so well.
yes, this is true.
Yeah.
Joel's gonna have a period any second. So your hormones change a little bit, and I
Yeah.
noticed that I couldn't recover from workouts. Like I used to run and lift weights, and
Yeah.
then have us like eat lunch and then be able to work in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and I would just have to be in bed the rest of the day. I'm on some testosterone cream right now, and my friend who's the vampire
Do you feel amazing?
I feel like it's working, I think. My friend who's a vampire, she's like, Amy, tell me when you start humping the furniture.
You're like, I haven't noticed any different.
I feel a tickle.
Where's it? Just where do you put this cream? Everywhere. Where you put this?
And then I could get my husband with his Morse code. He's got that finger practice down.
I mean,
Yeah.
in just a one hand, but he could still be like, it's like he's DJing. But
tick, tick, tick. Oh
hold
my
on,
God.
Morris. I've got to pleasure my wife real quick.
Hold on. The equipment's getting a little wet. It's slimy. That's disgusting.
My antenna is giant.
My antenna is giant. And it'll communicate all the way to orgasm land. Okay. We digress.
Why?
We're talking about perimenopause. Yeah. So when you start having any, we have to lift weights because our bones are going to turn into chalk.
Yes.
And we have to build muscles because we're just going to crack open. Like,
Yeah.
I was. Sorry. I lifted up a picture off the ground. Tweaked my shoulder. Like
Yeah.
we have to be turning into Joe Rogan's or something.
Yeah.
So
I know. I'm like at the gym, like looking in the mirror, like, yeah, okay, let me squat. I'm like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Just like, okay.
I got knocked up early. So I have one child as one more year of school, and then I'm an empty nester.
That's amazing.
And my plan, my goal, my hope is to be able to go tour and do comedy.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be so sad.
I mean, great time to do it.
Instead of processing my emotions, I just want to get
Right.
into my Delta. What's that one? The nice place to stay at the airport.
Oh, you just want the
Talking about
Delta Sky Lounge?
The Sky Lounge. I'm just gonna visit all the Sky Lounges. I actually don't like to travel. I just like status.
Yeah. You're just like, I just want miles. That's all I want.
All I want is the miles.
I'm not going to leave the airport. I will do my sets there.
Before, when I boarding first class, I stand in the back so I can make an entrance through all the people. It's my turn.
Maybe you
could.
Maybe you
doubt
could
this at
plan your. Maybe you could
do
plan
think-
your tour. You know how like I do a lot of shows with Paul Ollinger, and he has the country club circuit.
yeah.
And it's great because it's
I've
rich
done
people, they
one or
pay
two of
really
those with
well,
them, too.
and you're like perfect. They're captive audience and
Right?
very
And
appreciative.
they're my people.
They're
too.
people. They're not my people, but I do read as their people. So I think I
Yeah.
trick them sometimes. They're like, "Why did you pull up in a Kia Soul?" I'm like,
Oh,
it's okay.
but have you ever been skiing?
I mean, once or twice.
Then you can do all the jokes. Have you ever held a tennis racket?
Yeah. I'm a middle-aged white lady. Of course, I have.
You can do all the jokes.
But I think that you could really tap into a Delta Sky Lounge tour, so you would never have to go places. You could just fly.
And do a set.
And
at the
people will be
lounge,
like,
or everyone with their
entertainment.
noise-canceling headphones on and waiting in line because they always cut. It seems they turn off the buffet. Have you been?
No.
I won't talk about it then. Is this relatable? So we went to we traveled a lot last year, so
Yeah.
I got the fancy one this year. I don't have words anymore. Joel, what's the highest level on Delta?
Oh, I gotta look this up.
I bring it up on every episode.
Diamond status is
Diamond.
it? I don't know. I'm just getting.
And they're changing it. They're changing the way you can get it next year. So I don't know
to
if
do
I'll get
more?
it. I probably won't because I'm not going to travel as much as I did last year. We were taking my son to look at colleges and all that.
Oh.
So a lot of miles.
Yeah.
I went to Japan.
It's really fun.
Delta has 4 tiers. There's silver, gold, platinum, and diamond.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know how rich people think. They're like, what's the top tier?
Okay, so that was the stand-up part. Now you're feeling like, now you're an author.
Yeah. So.
What was it like? Okay, you took, so the story is, I'm going to tell it for you.
Okay.
You hiked the Appalachian Trail.
Yes.
And along the way, you met your husband.
Yes.
And thus, this is the story that you're telling, I'm guessing.
Yes, that is exactly right. Good job. You've been like stalking me. Gross.
Yes, since you moved here. I try not to like too many of your posts so you don't get too worried and then don't come over to my house.
I like them all. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I actually have been writing. I had been writing this book for. We've been together for almost 20 years. And I've been writing it for, I don't know, 17 of those, just like a little bit along the way. I started as a blog back in like the early 2000s when everybody had a blog. And I was kind of like, I don't know, I just want to write some stuff. So I would like write a little bit on there and like as like kind of episodic. And then I put it aside for a bunch of years. And then I started, after I had my son, I was just like, you know, like wanting to do something that was just a little different than stand-up, but also still creative. And so I started I was like, I'm going to work on this book again. Yeah. And I started taking just like 3-day or 4-day writing retreats by myself.
Okay.
This
episode just paid for itself.
Yeah, it is
treat yourself to that.
The biggest gift I literally would like, it just was a gift of concentration, which I don't think you don't have as like a parent.
No.
And so I would just go to these little cabins. I would like buy myself like nice food.
Was it VBR rental places?
Yeah, like rental, like Airbnbs or sometimes sometimes it would be a hotel, but I actually really prefer a cabin. And then
to do my writing. Okay, now who's fancy?
I know, it does sound very fancy.
I need a cabin to write in.
But I would just go and I would like sit and write for like 10 hours a day. And just literally
that's
write.
That's how you get your leg to stop working.
Exactly, right? And so it's like, because I don't do well in just like little bursts of creativity, it's like you need to
immerse yourself, cocoon yourself in the story, get all of like the memories coming back. Yes. You ever like look through old pictures to try to get the stories to come back? Do you feel the need to get this story down so that it becomes immortalized and your child will know the story of how you met?
Our love story.
Your love story and how funny his mom is.
I feel the need to get it down before I forget because it has been 20 years. We're all like, wait, what happened then? I had really good journals, but I really just it was like one of those things where I had been working on it for so long and I was like, I just have to finish this fucking thing. Like I need to so that I could do something else because it was like the thing
it's taking up space in your brain.
And I was like, I can't write anything else until I finish this. And so during the pandemic, I finally just like buckled down, like the second year, right? Yeah. The first year, it was just like, what the fuck is happening? What are we doing?
It was scary. I couldn't write during the first part of the pandemic because I was sad. And
I was sad, and you're just like looking at your child like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, like it was, and then I think it was during like the second year summer, I finally just finished it. And then
did you have like every day I'm going to write from 10 till 2 or?
I think I did a couple of retreats. I really don't write well at home at all, just because we have a very small house and it's like,
any
and
noise.
I have a small child, and we have work. My husband works from home. Like I work from home. Like it just
can't. The loud noise takes you out of the thought you were just having, and it's gone.
Like Mom, can we? What are you doing? Can you watch me do this? You know, my son's young, so
I think too. I wrote. I've been doing it for like 12 years. This thing. And it's a story of like moving to Colorado and the culture changes and all these lessons I learned there. But I wrote the whole thing basically, well, like the first and the middle part of the experience. Yeah. And then I took stand-up comedy classes and I learned to be a comedian and I went back and I threw all of it in the garbage.
You were like, I got to make this funnier.
That's the journal though, because I did it when it was fresh. in my mind.
Yeah.
And all of the wounds were still there. So I
Yeah,
can remember
yeah.
those because my journals are just filled with how many calories I've eaten and how
Oh,
fat I
okay.
feel because I had a little bit of an eating disorder, turns
Isn't
out.
I find it so depressing that every journal I've ever had, it's like I've only fill out like the first 10 pages or 20 pages or whatever, and it's all like, goal, lose 15 pounds. Here's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be active. I'm gonna eat less. No desserts. Like da-da-da. And I'm like, for my entire life until like the last maybe 3 or 4 years where I just was like, I've given up.
Forget it. Yeah. Let's live life.
And not giving up on like health, but it's like I've just given up on that whole rat race. I'm like, why?
That's not how the brain works either. We know how the brain works
Yeah.
now. We're older, we're wiser.
Yes.
And also, who cares?
Also, who cares?
So yeah, just
cares?
keep the like building muscle, cholesterol, your cholesterol levels.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just had a physical.
Yeah.
My
So
doctor
your
looked at me
estrogen's
right in
going.
the eye and was like, "You are a healthy woman," and I was like, That's
High fived, kicked
call
out,
him-
kick open the doctor's doors.
I call him Dr. Dude Shit because
shit.
so my best friend who I hiked the Appalachian Trail with, she's been my best friend since we were in 7th grade, and she is a doctor, and she also is notorious for being able to say the words dude and fuck in every sentence. Like, so we call her
Dr. Douche. Yeah.
we call her Dr. Dude Fuck. So she's Dr. Dude Fuck. Like when we made her a plaque that says Dr. Dude Fuck. Like that is who she is. That is who she is to her core. And so then I have this doctor who I, here in Atlanta, and the first thing he said to me when I went to see him, he was like, "Oh, have you had a mammogram yet?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Dude, we got to get you that shit." And I was like, I love you so much. So I call him Dr. Dude Shit. He's amazing. I never thought I would have a male doctor, but
There you go.
you
That's
know what?
good.
You got to have an open mind.
I'm getting my
everybody.
testosterone cream from a urologist. I am off the charts. I'm going rogue in the medical industry. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some testosterone cream. What do you feel like? Are you just like
I
like,
my skin I was like really just drying out. You know how like you look at a mummy and you're like, that looks like thirsty.
Yeah.
I was turning in, my hair's dry, my skin was dry. It's starting to come back, and I'm exercising, and my brain fog is a lot better.
Are you like, oh, this is what men feel like all the time?
This is what men feel like all the time. They can lift weights and take a shower
Yeah.
and go to work.
Yeah, wait till you walk on the street and no one talks to you.
I mean, that happens anyway.
yeah.
We're women over 40.
Oh, never mind.
I'm the one
Yeah.
talking.
You're like, I need
looked-
some help, and they're like, who's saying that?
They look at you like, I'm sorry. You were, how can you, where are you? Where are you
I thought that was
existing?
a ghost. I'm the one who's talking to people now on the streets. I'm turning into like a weird old lady that's like, well, aren't you adorable?
Yeah.
Oh, where do you go to school?
And they're like, no.
It's like a 20-year-old.
Yeah. They're like, please. Yeah. You look like my son's age. Will you want to come home? You want me to feed you?
You want me to feed you?
That's how I started producing this podcast.
He's just walking by
He's
the
like,
front.
I'm going to be an empty nester soon. Have you heard of perimenopause?
I'm on testosterone.
Feel my skin. You're like, oh, this is a real lotion in the basket kind of cinch. Like,
It puts the lotion in the basket. It puts the testosterone cream on the thin skin.
I was gonna say no. Then I saw the pool in the backyard, and I was like, all right, I'll feel her skin.
I do.
Whatever.
I love
my
her pool.
Okay, I want to ask.
But can I ask you, where do you put the lotion?
So I was doing it wrong. I'm not a medical doctor. However, a medical doctor did tell me I was doing it wrong. I was putting it on my haunches.
Oh, you're not supposed to put it on your haunches?
You have to put it on the thin skin, on the inner thigh, or like right here. But then you have to be careful not to touch any children because then they're going to go through puberty real fast.
Oh, no. Well, that's a problem because we know you're
Well,
accosting children on the street.
Well, those already gone through puberty, so I was doing it wrong, and I wasn't feeling as good, and then I
Yeah.
started doing it right, and I felt a lot better. So
Oh, interesting.
I think it might be working. I've only been doing it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
Yeah.
There'll
Tell
be
me if you
updates.
start like growing hairs or
Well,
start
if
acting
you,
like.
I got to get my levels tested
Yeah.
because I don't want to start growing any more hair than is already being a very naughty hair follicle that does not go. You know, I have 3 that come out of this one mole. Anyway, I don't want any weird hair, and I don't want my voice to
insult.
lower. I have like a beat like "Ma!" Like I can hit the high notes, and I love hitting the high notes, especially at the gay bar.
Yeah.
In Midtown when they have musical sing-alongs.
Wait, what?
Yes, Campaniello Italian restaurant. Friday, Saturday night. I think it starts at 9. I usually get there at 9:30. I know you have to like take a nap before you go. They have espresso martinis though, so you can feel amazing.
Okay.
Broadway sing along, and it's fun being the only woman there. And to,
this sounds
to come
amazing.
in with the high note.
Let me know next time you go. I remember
Okay.
you had a party that was like a Broadway sing along.
Yeah,
that I
do those
couldn't
like
go to.
3 times a year. I do those. Yeah. Do you like Broadway stuff?
I like sing-alongs. I just think it's fun. I like some Broadway. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not like somebody
Just
who
bring
knows.
a bottle of wine over, and then Amy will throw one and impromptu at any time.
Right.
Somebody who knows every word to everything, but I just, sometimes I sit in my car and sing Beauty and the Beast soundtrack.
That's wonderful. Yes. Okay. But that's sorry.
So, like, I felt like that was like a verbal
No.
pat on the head. That's wonderful. Good for
No,
you.
because that means you like singing, and it's meditation, and then you're in flow. When you're singing, you're in flow, and that's good for your brain, and it brings down your anxiety. That's why I love singing with people too. It's connection, making a harmony with someone. It's team building.
I can't make a harmony with anybody, but I can sing loudly.
We like those people too. Okay, so I have a question about the authoring of the book.
Okay.
How many edits? How many rounds of edits? And did you read it out loud? I know David Sedaris reads his book out loud to people all over the country. He goes on tours and he reads the chapters so he can edit it down. It's like doing an open mic. He can edit down and see where the jokes are hitting and where they're not. Uh-oh, am I getting you upset? Like,
No,
you're like,
that's
I should have done that.
interesting. I have no want to read this book again. No,
Are you just sick of it?
I'm just done with it.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel about I put out 2 comedy albums, and both of them, once they were out, I was done.
Like no more saying those jokes again.
I mean, not that I don't say those jokes, but just I'm like, it is not my responsibility once it is out. You know what I mean? Like the quality of it, I like obsess over it until it is like it's locked and where you can no longer edit. Then I'm like, great, it's not my business. Like it's out in the world. The
baby's done.
Yeah.
It's baked and it's out of the oven.
Whatever people think about it, they think
Don't
about
bake your
it.
baby. Sorry. Another
Do what you
PSA.
want.
So tell me what that feeling is like, so I can put it on my vision board to be like to finish something.
I felt like it when I just got my
Speak slowly into the microphone.
Okay, well first you're like, wow, I did this thing. It's actually happening.
I finished
And then you're like, oh, do I have to make dinner tonight? It's like very quick.
Fleeting.
The fleeting excitement of it is very fleeting. But I just try not to obsess over those like, what are people going to think about a thing?
Well,
I can't
you
deal
have
with
to
it.
just put it out there, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm still trying to, sometimes I feel like I might be on a spectrum because I'm like, how does this come across? Oh, that's disgusting, Amy, what you just said. Probably shouldn't say that. Probably definitely not say that into a camera and stick it on YouTube.
Oh, I have those instincts too where I'm like the most shocking thing that I've said. I'm like, oh yeah, we have to keep that in, right? And Jen is very good at being like, oh, we're not going to post that. I'm like, okay, fine.
Right. I think I need a Jen in my life. Joel and I have no boundaries, so we're just putting everything out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're doing it right. I think, you got to be provocative, be who you are.
Did you call your husband by his name in your book?
Yes.
Do you call do you have all of your family members in your book?
No.
Do you call them by their names?
There's not much about my family in the book because they weren't,
Okay.
they were a non-factor. No, they just weren't very involved, but I do have some pseudonyms. I had a boyfriend that I was living with before I started hiking. Like we were like going to be married. And so a lot of the beginning is kind of like the unraveling of our relationship. And I did use a pseudonym for him because I didn't think it was fair. Haven't been in touch with him in 20 years. So I'm just like, wow, that doesn't seem like a thing to like
Throw him under a bus 20 years later.
Right, exactly. So
First and last name, his address,
this is what
his
he's
mom's
doing now.
phone number. Call his mother. Call his mother.
The forward on it's like, this is to dox my ex.
Yeah. Gotcha, motherfucker.
I told you.
That's the long haul.
It's the slow burn, right? Yeah. No, I did put him in the acknowledgments, but I, just like, because he was a wonderful person. He was a wonderful person. We just weren't right together. And so, but it just is like a lot of me realizing like, oh, I'm just being this person that I don't really like. And all of these like compromises that I made to be that person and to fit, whatever, the things that we all do in our 20s. But no, so I do have some pseudonyms. I also, because it's the Appalachian Trail, people have trail names on the trail. So everybody goes by trail names. Like a lot of people, I never learned their real names.
Oh my God, it's a
So,
cult.
yes,
This is a cult.
It is. So you get either given or you give yourself a trail name.
Wow, it's like a fraternity.
It is like a fraternity, just like a fraternity, except a lot more walking, and less like bongs. I don't know. But yeah, so that a lot of people, I use their trail name or I use a pseudo trail name if I'm not talking kindly about them.
Okay. It's not trackable. It's fine. Did you do any possibly embarrassing stories about your child?
No, because he's not in it at all. It's
Okay.
all really just this. I mean, I have really not nice jokes about my kid on both albums. Or no, not both albums. Well, the first one I wasn't pregnant, but my second album, one day we'll have to have a real come to Jesus of like, I'm sorry, mommy didn't mean it. I love you so much,
right.
but like, come on. You did pull out your dick at a restaurant.
How old?
He was 4.
Oh, well then
It's fine.
that changes so much about the story. I mean, he shouldn't have, but
I also have a joke where I say like, I don't want kids. I say that into a microphone, and I feel like that's going to come back.
The
haunt me.
therapist.
Yeah.
You're going to get a bill from the therapist.
Yeah.
yeah, your kid in the years, your kid therapist is like, well, I mean, your mom, how would you even know that? And he's just like, hit and play.
She says very clearly on here she would be a better stepmom.
like a court reporter.
But
Read it back.
It's a funny joke, right? The people are laughing.
Hopefully you'll have a child that has a good sense of humor.
He's got a good sense of humor so far. I mean, he's 7, but he is like, he does bits. He's great.
That's good.
Yeah, he's a funny kid. I like him.
I'm working on a chapter right now about naked time.
Yeah.
Because our family had naked time because my children wanted to be naked all the time, so we had to make it naked time. Naked time was after nap time and before dinner time.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to talk about like the difference between naked families and non-naked families.
Yeah.
I was just now researching and talking to different people. I grew up in a naked family. Like you wouldn't necessarily close a door to change your clothes if to go into your bedroom you had to turn. Like,
yeah, no, we are a naked family. My son would 100% be naked at all times if he could. Like he is.
Yes.
He is 7, but he is, if we are at home, he's naked. Like last night we were putting up our Christmas tree and I was like, Max, can you please put on some PJs? Because every year I want to take pictures of us putting up the Christmas tree.
Turning into pornography.
And then all I see is your butthole. And like, I just want, can you put on the PJs? And he was like,
just let me live my life, Mom.
He's like, why? It's natural. So like my husband and I don't walk around naked, but we change. I mean, he like comes into the bathroom while I'm in there. Like, it's just
you're a naked family.
We're a naked family.
Some people would are shocked to hear this. They're like, no, you lock the door when you change your clothes, even if you're alone in the house.
That seems so weird to me. Because I just think like, I mean, I'm sure there will become a point, right? Because I have my child is a boy, that there'll come a point where I'll be like, okay, we are not, it's no longer cool. Like he feels uncomfortable. You don't want it, you don't want that. But at this point, he's a little kid. I just don't want him to feel comfortable in his body. I'm like, why are we making this weird?
Yeah.
You came out of me.
Yeah.
You came out of me.
And this generation of children, depending on, I guess, what kind of school they go to, our kids went to a very liberal school. They are still naked sometimes, and it's an eyeful. Like, mazel tov.
Yeah, I think about like my one of my good friends. So I've known her child since he was a baby, and he's 14 now, and he broke his arm, and she was having to like help him and like get in the bath and stuff. And she was like,
Did you have to hold his wiener while he peed? Oh my
she
God.
did, but she was like lowering him into the bath. And
Wait, how old is this child?
14. But she was like,
the child's uncomfortable with mom touching the wiener at that age.
she was like, I haven't seen him naked in 2 years. And I was like, God, I can't imagine a time when I don't see my child naked. But of course that's going to happen. But it's crazy to me that like, this is your little baby who used to run around the house naked all the time. Like,
Yeah.
And now it's like,
they just turn
Mom.
into dudes.
Yeah. I was like,
it's
oh my
wild.
God, it's crazy. My son's
You
gonna be
have a
dude.
cute little baby.
Yeah.
So adorable, so cuddly. And then one day you're in your house.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, there's a strange man in the house who's talking. And it's your baby. And he's like,
What's
up, Mom? I'm
Hey,
hungry.
bro.
I'm
Hey,
hungry.
Hardships of a mom here. You can't see your kid naked anymore. This is also being recorded, just so we know.
Right?
I mean,
Michelle Wolf has a joke about that. She's like, if you want to send someone a wiener pic, send it to your mom. She's the one that she'd be curious to see how it turned out.
right?
She's like, good for you.
Oh, you know, look
Okay.
just like your dad.
He looks just like your dad. He goes to the left too.
Gross.
I got a little sparkle in the
Yeah.
eye there.
How do you get that mole checked out?
Oh, the circumcision worked well. Okay, that's disgusting. I have one more question, and then we're gonna find out what kind of nerd you are. Okay. So this is more for me, and I'm sorry if people don't relate to this, but when you did your book,
Yes.
how many edits? No, seriously,
Oh, okay.
like how long did that take? How many different people had to read it, and like
Yeah.
for you to be like, okay, yeah, this is baked, this is good.
Okay.
This
So
is ready.
I did. I have beta readers. So
What's a beta reader?
That's like just
It's like blue blockers.
No, it's just some like a neutral party. I had friends, but that you trust to read it and give you feedback. So I had 4 people.
You have really good friends. I don't think my friends have enough time to read my stuff for me.
I'd read your
You
stuff.
would read your stuff for me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I bet you would be surprised at who would read. Like I had this amazing comedian. Her name's Emily Galati, and she was. When I was like kind of writing this as my blog, she had read parts of it before, and she was like, when we were in New York, she's like, you really need to finish that. And I was like, I don't know, like it's just a silly thing that I don't think I'm ever gonna try to like publish it. And she was like, you need to finish it, and you need to. And so she was really helpful, and she was like, send it to me when you're done, and I want to read it, and I will give you feedback. And she's like a really amazing writer, and so
Was she doing feedback on content and punctuation
she was
and grammar?
just developmental, so that just like the
Content.
structure, content, yes. So
Yeah.
all of that.
Did she ever flip like a story around and have the end of the story be at the beginning and the like? Because that's kind of how jokes work sometimes.
Yeah, no, she more was like, I'm a very like sparse writer. Like I'm not-
Hemingway.
I'm very Hemingway. I'm like basically Hemingway. I am Cormac McCarthy. I just am not like, I don't do a ton of like description. I'm very, I think I'm like that in comedy writing too. Like I'm pretty like I will whittle a joke down. And
That's what we're supposed to do.
Word
economy.
So I think because of comedy, that has like become how I write. And also like in my, like I do a lot of grant writing. I do other kind of like content writing where it's like, you're taking complex things and making them simple. So that is kind of how, and that's what I like to read. So my point is, she was more like, put some more emotion in here. Like,
elaborate.
Yeah, can you elaborate? Can you tell me what were you thinking here? And I'm like, feelings, gross, And so that kind of thing, and that really helped me actually to really like make it a full-fledged story, like round out characters, make me kind of more the center. Whereas like I didn't really want to. I think when I was writing it at first, I was like I didn't have enough perspective on it. Probably like what you were saying, like
Yeah.
So going back through, I added a lot more of that. So I had 4 people who gave me like pretty extensive feedback. And then I went through, and after that I did a full like
Rewrite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And mostly on the first half of the book, I think it was really needed a lot. So that was like the big like once I did that.
And that's the oldest part too. So your writing style might have changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was like, I feel like I'm reading somebody get better at writing. And I was like, okay, well, that's very flattering, but also probably not great for a book, right? Like I want it to be all seem like it's me now. So that was like, that part was like I did that. And then I did a full edit where I went and did like a writing retreat for myself and just edited. And then that was basically what I did mostly during the pandemic. And then, or maybe the next year. What is this year? And then once I did that, I really was like, I just need to do it. I need to send it out.
How did you find an agent?
I just sent queries out.
What's a query?
It's a letter that you send and you're like,
you are
hey,
fancy.
Here's my book. Here's me. Here's what I do. Here's my platform.
Did you look up publishing companies and send them a letter in the mail?
No.
Did you use my husband's Morse code?
I was like, please take my book.
You talked to their grandfathers.
Yeah. So I ended up getting a contract with a small publisher. It's not a big five, but it's called Running Wild Press, and they put out like 50 books a year or something like that. And yeah.
So you sent it to them. They wanted it.
They're like, great.
Did they make you do more edits?
Yes. So then I got an editor.
They hired an editor for you, or you had to hire them?
No, they have editors. And I loved my editor. She's amazing. She actually
What kind of feedback did she give you? Like, take this out, it's not interesting, or put some more in here?
It was also a lot of put more in. Like, that was like kind of even more. What about here? What is, some things confusing. There was like one part that she was like, the flow of this doesn't make sense. Can you maybe reorder it? Let's talk about like how to do that. And she was just very helpful at like, kind of just bringing things out where they needed more. That's really, for me, I just needed more rather than like cutting.
Okay.
And then she was like very good at like the copy edits.
I was gonna say, because there's styles of punctuation. I look at like Sedaris books, David Sedaris books, and I'm trying to see like what he's doing with punctuation. And I feel like some of it's stylized.
I mean, when you're doing like creative nonfiction or fiction writing, you really can like do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's, I mean, there are pick a style and stick with it.
Okay.
Like be consistent, and there are like styles that they'll want you to turn it in as. I think that but.
Did they give you a check? Did you get money for your book? Do you hand it over? Do you have the rights for it still?
Yeah, I have the rights. I don't have the rights to sell it. As like they have the distribution rights.
Okay.
So I have my copy, I have the copyright. So once once it's like, if it is like goes out of print or certain rights they have for like a year or two. So like film rights they'll have for like a year or two. And then
cool.
if they don't use them, then they revert back to me.
You have to get in Reese Witherspoon's book club.
I should just do that.
Just do it.
Send out a query.
I'm gonna do that. I'm also, I'm also gonna get on.
Hit up Oprah.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit up Oprah. Around. I'm gonna do the View.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is your book? Is it like there's jokes all along? Is it like a compelling story with comical tones every once in a while?
Yes, I would say more of that. Like I like to describe it as it's very like I think it is heartfelt, it's funny. Like it's more, I think it's funnier than like your average memoir, but it's not a humor book. You know what I mean? Like so this isn't some big revelation that we're like everybody's gonna cry and your life is gonna change. I think it reads like a beach read. It's a fun adventure book that you'll get some like there's some insight along the way, but it's like a great love story and it's a great friendship story and it's
real.
And it's real.
It's true. I cannot wait to read this book.
Thank you. I'm excited for it to come out.
Are you gonna have a tour?
I would like to do a tour. Yeah, we'll see.
How do you find out if you're going to have a tour? Does your publisher tell you?
I mean, I think my publisher is like, great. Go for it.
Oh, you have to plan it all yourself?
I mean, they will do basically like.
I guess your agent would be the person that
so
plans your tour.
The publicist will be the person to kind of plan it, but the publisher will facilitate these stops, but it really is up to me depending on like what kind of time I can take,
Right.
what
do you
that.
want to do? So as a comedian, this is okay. This is this is going to be a long episode because I have fantasies about this.
Yeah.
You have your book. It's charming. People love it, and you go to your tour and like you read a chapter. But you're also a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Do you then do a type 5? Like,
Do I just add in like also?
yeah, like it's like that, and that's that. And then you start doing start talking and just being funny because you're a comedian. And
I don't know. It's
do you do a show that night? Okay, during the day you do the book signing, and then that night you sell tickets and you sell out your show because it's all the people who read your book and now they come see your material.
Let's
put that in the
the thought. That is my goal. Is like,
Yeah.
it is kind of why I haven't quit comedy yet. Is because I'm thinking like it would be really cool to do like both a book and stand-up tour. Like one support the other.
I love it.
And then go to different places, arrange a show at night, and then go to a bookstore during the day.
I will release a small book of poems,
Yeah?
and then I can open for you. Okay, I'll do a little bit of comedy and a little bit of writing, and I'll carry your bags.
It's gonna be like this thick, a teeny tiny book of poem, one word on each page.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I have the same fantasy too. I think it's just,
Yeah.
it's, you know what it is? It's human connection. And when you have something happen to you that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me in Colorado. I felt like I have to write this down.
Yeah.
Like my kids need to know this is what happened to us.
Right.
When we were there. It was so, yeah.
I'm excited to read your book.
I'm excited to read your book. Okay, let's find out what kind of nerd you
Okay.
are, my sweet friend. Boop. Okay.
Sorry, I just tapped on the table.
It's okay.
You told me
People do it way more than you.
specifically says don't
The
hit
more
the table.
people have ADD, it turns out, the more when they read this, they subconsciously start hitting the table. So it's a kind of a litmus test for ADD, ADHD. Okay.
I got excited.
Have you
Tapped.
ever been to Comic-Con? Okay. Dragon Con, any con?
I'm sorry.
And have you ever ridden a unicycle?
No.
Played an instrument?
Yes.
What was your instrument?
I went to performing arts school and
You went to performing arts school and you have a degree in science?
and I played the clarinet.
Clarinet.
I was in the marching band. I did all the things. I loved band.
Did you go to band camp?
I never went to band camp. I never did because I also played soccer, so I would go to like summer.
Oh,
soccer.
soccer's a cool kid sport.
I was,
That's not going to bode well for your
I'm all
rating.
I'm all things to all people.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're jack of all trades, science, but a writer, musician, but band.
I'm like all the, I'm like just a teeny bit good at some things.
You liked band. Did your band ever compete at States or go to Disney World?
No.
Or you Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade?
No.
Was this Ohio?
This is in Ohio, yeah.
What's the city in Ohio?
Dayton.
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio.
Okay. I do well in Ohio when I perform there.
I can imagine.
I really like Ohio.
I can imagine.
Where I grew up in upstate New York, it's really close to Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So it's basically the same. Do you are you into Legos?
I mean, I like Legos when my child does Legos, yes.
Okay. But you're not collecting them.
No.
Okay.
No.
Am
Am I going to fail?
No, it's fine. It's fine. This is all love. But I'm
Okay.
going to tease you. Okay. This is like the Appalachian Trail. You're gonna leave here with a different name.
Right.
Okay. A cape. Have you ever had a cape?
No.
No cape. Anything costumes? Do you like costumes? Do you have a costume closet? Does your son have a costume closet?
Yes.
Can I buy him one?
Yes, he has a
Okay.
costume closet. He has a wonderful costume closet. I have worn a cape that that is
He
his
bestowed
cape.
upon you.
Yes,
But you don't own a cape.
I don't own a cape. I don't.
She's the first one, I think, Joel.
We've had a few non-capes.
Who owns capes?
A lot of people. Actually, a lot of people. Or either owned or have owned before.
Yeah.
Interesting.
A lot of people have capes.
Have you ever held a ferret?
No.
Do you ever had a coin collection?
No.
Have you ever held a sword?
Not that I recall.
No, you're not. We're not in the court of law.
I've been to a Ren fair.
She's sweating right now.
That's one of the questions. Okay, you've been to a Ren fair.
Yes.
And you didn't wear a cape there?
You
But I did get-
You can go and not wear a cape.
I got little elf ears and like a
Did you have
little
elf
thing.
ears? Did you wear a bodice and like the?
I just went. Somebody bought me. It was actually I was doing shows, and the headliner was like,
Let's go to the Ren
"Let's
Fair.
go to the Ren Fair."
Okay,
And
so
we
you weren't prepared. You
and it
were
was, like,
traveling.
we were traveling, but they did pay for me to be on the like dunk a winch thing, and so I did that.
Did you get dunked?
I got dunked. And
Oh, what do
then
you do if you got your hair wet and you have to perform that night? Although maybe yours
I
dries
just
faster than mine.
Went back and showered.
My hair dryer is the size of this table. I can't
you have
travel
a lot of
with
hair.
it.
Mine is like
Do you
2 seconds. It's like
Do you check a bag when you would travel?
No,
Yeah,
never.
never.
no,
Okay.
that's crazy.
Elf ears. Did you say huzzah when you were at the Ren Fair?
I didn't.
Do you say it in real life?
No.
Okay. Have you ever written fan fiction? Mm-mm. Okay. Have you ever brewed your own mead?
No.
Do you have a Do you have a tattoo?
I do. I have
What's
3
your tattoo?
tattoos. I have a dragon.
Okay, that's pretty nerdy. Tell me about your dragon.
Well, it's gonna be less nerdy when I
Oh.
tell you why I have a dragon. When I was 19, I was working at a summer camp, and it was right outside New York City, and I went to Urban Outfitters for the first time, and I thought it was like,
Oh, my head exploded when Urban Outfitters first opened. I went to New York City
Yep.
too, and I was like, oh, what's happening?
I thought it was like, I didn't know it was a chain. I just was like, this is the most amazing store ever.
So cute,
it's so
quaint.
cool, and like unique. Everything's so unique. And I got this tank top because it was all I could afford, but it had like, like a Chinese dragon on it. And I was like, I love this so much. I'm going to get it on my back. And I was like,
On your back?
Because I'm fierce like a dragon. Oh, yeah, it's a tramp stamp. And
You're
I
a
just,
tramp stamp on your back of a dragon.
and I was like, this is so me. It's so me, dragon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, a tramp stamp on the back of a dragon. That's a record. You just broke the record.
Everybody drink if you have any of those.
So
things.
so tramp stamps were in fashion just for like the young people.
And I
who
will
are-
say that wasn't an offensive term then.
How-
It would probably, I wouldn't say
I
to someone
I
else.
don't think tramp stamps
the
offensive anymore.
tramp stamp is it above or below the whale tail? Do you remember the underpants, the thong underpants we had to
Yeah.
wear with low rise jeans?
Yeah.
Which I think is illegal. Like you can't
Should be.
you can't have like the cheeks of your butt above your pants and then your underwear on top and then where's your tramp stamp fall? And how big is your
It's-
tramp stamp?
It's like this big.
Oh, it's kind of big. Is it black and white?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Authentic.
Very moody, very cool.
Very
I got
authentic,
it
like
in-
Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, I got it in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and I needed it. And my other, so it was 3 of us. One girl got a yin yang.
Oh,
The other
very
one
novel.
got a Chinese symbol for happiness. And I got the Chinese dragon. 3 white girls went to New York City, went to Urban Outfitters, and this is what we came back
Were
and
you
got.
listening to the Indigo Girls the whole time?
Yes.
I could see
of
it.
course.
Did everyone have plucked eyebrows, a cropped, and then a choker?
Oh yeah, I was like really into like I was very like faux punk, like faux like ska music, like I really like
Yeah.
ska music. I had like big pants and an eyebrow ring, and but I still
Yeah.
looked like this. Like I
Yeah.
still was like looked like, hi, I'm Sally. Like I looked like this, but I was like
Yeah.
thought I was cool.
Yeah, Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wearing plaid flannel shirts,
Yeah.
baggy pants, moved to Virginia for college. Immediately, I was like, I'm going to start wearing skirts and curling my hair. And then, did you ever pluck your eyebrows too much?
Yeah.
I went home.
Forge.
My gunkle was like, girl, not on my dime. Like, you got to
like,
keep
"We're
your
gonna get you a-"
eyebrows. Yeah, too many like Hollywood starlets in the 40s got their 30s got their eyebrows plucked off, and then they
Yeah.
couldn't grow them back.
Yeah, I did it. I think maybe twice I got them just waxed very thinly, and then I didn't like it, and so then I quit doing that, and I just have
Yeah.
never.
Sometimes you got to go home from college and then have your gunkle tell you like,
Yeah.
girl.
What are you doing to yourself down there?
Are you a Disney person?
No.
Have you ever framed a puzzle?
No.
So you said you were a counselor at camp. What kind of camp was it?
Summer camp. Y camp.
What, like YMCA?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you ever gone to camp yourself as a child?
I went to YMCA camp, but also as
Okay.
a child. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite thing to do at camp?
I love everything because I love summer camp so much.
And that's why you hike the trail.
I love summer
Do you
camp.
do rock climbing?
I have done rock climbing. I have not in years, but.
Do you have a fantasy about doing like all the peaks in Colorado? Like do like
doing
mountaineering?
all the like four.
I think there's 7 of them that are like 10,000 feet high or something like that.
Yeah, just hiking up and down them. Yeah, I'd love
do you,
to.
like, is it a bucket list for you?
It's not a bucket list, but I would love to do it.
Do you have trekking poles?
Yeah.
Do you have a fantasy about?
Obviously, it doesn't.
Do you have a fantasy about going to New Zealand and walking around where all of the Lord of the Rings was filmed?
Yeah.
Did you have that before I mentioned it?
Well, I don't think of it in terms of like Lord of the Rings, but I do have a fantasy of going to New Zealand and hiking around.
Doing the
and
hiking.
I did love Lord of the Rings, so I wouldn't
Did you
be
love
mad.
it? Have you read The Hobbit?
Yeah, I read The Hobbit. I was a child.
Okay, I'm an adult and I still can't read The Hobbit. They do all the fake languages in there. I can't.
I think we had to read it as a child.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Ohio. Have you ever been to a Rush concert?
No.
Okay. Do you like Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Do you like school supply shopping?
Yes.
Do you have a perfect attendance award?
No.
Did you get good grades?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're a school nerd. Have you ever been goth or anything for a spell?
No, I think the closest was
the ska girl.
I was like
Gwen Stefani.
Dated a like straight edge guy for a bit.
Oh yeah, straight edge.
And went to like
Joel.
was in like mosh pits and stuff.
Yeah. Do you know what a straight edge kid is?
Yeah, I used to do drugs around them a lot.
They don't
Same.
do any drugs.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah, they
but you
don't.
can be around them and still do drugs.
Yeah, they're very non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental.
The 3 X's.
Because
Yeah, the
most of
X's,
the time,
yeah.
straight edge kids would still hang out at like shows and parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And just made a point of like, oh no, like I don't do the
They'd be like-
but I still want to go out and
And party.
and party.
It's
Yeah.
great. I think that's what all of the adults turn into because we're like, I really can't drink, but I will go to the concert now, right? But yeah, straight edge people, young people, and out there in the world, they had black X's they made on their hands with magic marker,
Yeah.
or permanent marker, as part of their culture, and it was a cool thing.
And it was like no drinking, no drugs, no sex.
But
No,
I don't
not
think sex was part of
it. It wasn't
it.
sex for sure, not sex.
And then the one guy I knew was doing it wrong.
There's definitely no drinking, no drugs.
No drinking, no drugs. Maybe no
Is it
smoking.
vegan too?
No,
Or maybe that
it's
kid
no-
was just vegan as well.
Yeah, maybe it's no smoking.
Okay. Have you ever said this is not canon?
No,
Star Wars or Star Trek?
I don't give a shit about either of those things.
Cool girl alert.
I don't. I'm sorry. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm running out of questions to ask you, or I have moved the Here it is. Okay. Have you ever played like Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that? Or
Yes, I have.
Okay, with the straight edge kid.
With my brothers.
Oh, you have brothers.
Yeah.
That's cool. How long? Like, what's the longest sitting you've ever done at a board game? Or playing a video game? We're too old for video games.
Yeah, video games. Not long. I do love board games. I like the game.
Community spirit.
Yeah, I like those things. I like.
Yeah, some people like do it for like 12 hours at a time.
no.
They
No.
really get into it.
don't.
You are
I
not
know.
nerdy for board games.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not.
Did I already ask you? Have you been to a Rush concert?
No. Yeah. No.
No. Okay.
I gotta be honest. I'm not exactly sure who that is.
It's okay. It's a nerdy thing. Do you know all the words to a musical? Hamilton, that counts. I'll allow it.
Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Am I back?
Have you ever been stuffed in a locker?
No.
Have you ever been scuba diving?
No.
Okay. Have you ever held a tropical bird?
No. Have you held a tropical bird?
Yeah, I've lived.
I feel like I've lived, and now it's making me, this list is making me feel like I haven't lived in the right way.
This is like a midlife crisis energy. Like, we got to get the buckets going in their lists. You can put that in your listicles for buckets. Oh, you did that one. You did reverse, not on the bucket list.
Not on the bucket list,
yes.
yeah.
Do you ever card collections, Pokemon, baseball?
No, I mean Pokemon just because my child is very into
That's
Pokemon,
not
but
yours then.
No,
You're not okay.
No.
Do you have Pokemon on your phone? Are you like pushing your son down to capture people?
No.
Capture them? Okay.
No.
All right, Miss Sally Brooks, if this is your real name, from Ohio, you are an outdoor nerd.
I'm an outdoor nerd.
Can you fly fish?
No.
Maybe you're not an outdoor nerd.
I'll tell you what I am nerdy for.
Tell me.
I
forgot to ask you.
Yeah, I didn't ask at all.
I am so sorry. I was just wanting to get all the
I've
information.
just been waiting here to be asked about my passion, and instead I'm being shamed for my non-passions. I am. What if I was like, I am nerdy for my family? No, that's not what.
And the Lord.
And the Lord. I'm nerdy about the Lord. I am currently nerdy about pottery. I'm so nerdy about
that's
pottery.
right.
I love
Yes.
pottery so much. I just went on a week-long pottery retreat. It's me and the old ladies.
You get so many retreats.
I do. I treat myself.
You treat yourself.
I retreat. I work really hard. I have like 18 jobs, and then every
Does your
quarter,
husband? Yeah.
I freak out, and I'm like, I gotta get off the grid, and then
Yeah.
I leave for like a week or 4 or 5 days.
I could do this. This would make me be a better person. What does your husband just take care of your child?
Yeah,
And he's fine?
Yeah, he's fine. He's a person. He can
Maybe
do that.
I could get my husband to talk to your husband. Let's
Yeah.
make a play date for them.
Okay.
Maybe.
Has
Ooh.
Kent never been alone with the kids before?
Oh no.
I'm gonna
I
have
think-
him. He'll beep 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 beep.
Also,
when
you're with the kids like how old? 16 or 17?
It's not being alone with the kid. It's him being without me.
Oh yeah, my husband's like, see ya.
Yeah.
Right.
Your husband's like, hey, I think it's another time for a retreat.
Yeah.
Even when I go away for a weekend, around Saturday at 4:00, I'm
calling?
really missing you.
Oh, that's really nice. I think my husband's just like he's used to it. Like this is the most I've ever been home.
I felt like you were about to say, you're like, I think it's been about 12 days since I saw my husband. We haven't even texted in about 5.
He might be dead in the garage. I don't know.
Yeah, we're both just very good at being by ourselves. So I think we just both
Perfect amount of introvert extrovert
yes,
energy.
we relish it.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I'm also getting I'm like really into like old lady art shit.
Tell
Like,
me,
I'm
okay,
really, I've started watercoloring.
This is the phases. So we're getting older.
Yeah.
I'm getting into bird watching.
Do you have that app?
Yes, I have the app Carlette. There's you can catch like you get them all, and then one that you record it's the sound and it tells you what it is.
What is it, like Maestro
Yeah.
or something where you,
Carlette's doing that. She's a comedian in Atlanta. She was on the show. She's like you turn 40 and you're like birds. So
I got that app. I got real into it. And
So
then
there's
it was taking
birding.
up,
Sorry, go ahead.
it took up too much space on my phone.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My husband keeps it on his.
And they're always together, so you're never gonna miss it.
That's never gonna miss it. Watercolors. Talk about this the pottery because you like the earth. You like to be in. You
love
want to
the
put your
earth.
hands in the dirt with the pottery.
I just want a thing that I am not like on a computer for, where I'm not writing, I'm not doing, I just wanted something that was like
Flow.
tactile.
Yeah.
And I'm building in my backyard a little pottery studio.
Ooh,
Doing it, man.
a pottery retreat in the backyard.
in my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're doing watercolors.
Do watercolors, very bad watercolors. I watch YouTube videos and TikTokers, and then I just take my little paints and I just do a
Yeah.
little. That's what I'm into now. That's what I'm nerdy for.
I
I'm
think
nerdy for doing things that just bring you pure joy because everything else, all of my other hobbies became monetized. Everything else I was like, how can I make this into a job? And now I'm like, there's no way. I'm never going to be good enough at pottery or good enough at, maybe I will, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to I don't want to make that a job.
it's being in flow
Yeah.
because you can't think about something else when
Exactly.
you're
Like I can't be on my phone
when
if
you're
I
tasking.
Yeah.
Doing a task.
Yeah.
And so you're able to release your brain. And a lot like Winston Churchill painted.
George W. Bush.
I was going to say that. It'd be like not necessarily the same energy.
Charles Manson. All the great.
Everyone's role models. What do you think Henry Kissinger was doing up until he died?
He was fingering strangers.
Pretty little watercolors. He was just little landscapes.
All the happy little animals.
Yeah.
I feel like George Bush has gotten better as he's aged. I think he's adorable now, and everyone was so upset with him as a president.
Right? He was.
He still did a lot of drone strikes and, that whole 20-year war that's still going on. But I guess he paints now, so it's cute.
He's cute. He's an old guy. Let's have a beer with him.
He's not. I think he's not necessarily. He's not like a Trump person.
Well, that's the thing. It's like in relation, he seems real cute.
And he's friends with the Obamas. Like, he's not. Okay. Anyway,
we got political right
at the end there. But I really enjoy. Like, I'm happy to hear that pretty soon I'm going to start doing pottery. That it's coming for me.
It's coming for you. You're going to join an art studio. You're going to go. I go to one in Dunwoody, and it's me and these old ladies, and we just chat and we do our pottery and we talk about art. And then I took a retreat. I went up to the mountains for a week, and I just met all these lovely old ladies. And we did our art, and we talked about art, and we made pots, and it was so great.
So wholesome. Are they drinking tea or wine?
Oh, we're drinking wine. It's so great. They're like, it's really nice.
This is going to my life goals. I like that sense of community too that you get.
It's so nice. It was like I just need something outside of comedy that I am like enjoying, and that is because it has been my life for so long, and I dedicated like everything to comedy for so long, and I just needed like some perspective and something outside of it. So I'm really liking this phase.
Beautiful.
All right. My art phase.
Your art phase.
My old lady art phase.
Before I got into comedy, I for a hot second had a painting phase, like with canvases.
Yeah.
And there was a moment, and you haven't seen Mommy Dearest, but where I did kind of crack a little bit, and I was like, I just want to touch the paint. And so I started finger painting. I wanted to feel it in my hands and then feel it on the canvases. And the art is terrible. All of it's awful. I just hang it in my kids' room instead of, it's a reverse refrigerator situation. But
how does it feel? Look at Mommy's art.
Look at my bad art. You've been giving it your bad art for 16 years.
They really take those kids down,
I can, but I relate to that, wanting to feel a part of the earth. I think when people cook, I'm told touching the vegetables has that same effect on the brain. Gardening.
I know I can't do either of those. I mean, I can cook. I just don't.
I know. Every time I get near the oven, my husband's like, "Don't burn yourself." So, okay. All right.
Was that like learned incompetence, where you're just like, I'm like, burnt this again?
No, I burn myself and I cry.
I do have several burn marks on myself from.
And I just tell him,
reaching into a hot oven.
Yeah, if I bake a frittata, I forget that the handle on the pan that's been in the oven is hot.
Yeah, I have that issue too. My husband, I'm also the person who I will see something being taken off a hot stove and I will immediately put it in my mouth. And my husband's like, "My God, you saw that
I had a dog like that.
Out of an oven. And why are you surprised that it is burning your mouth?" I'm like, I don't know. I was thinking about other things. Okay, sorry, you're trying to wrap this up.
I'm trying to wrap it up. Yes, this. Just tell everybody, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, you can find me. I have a website. It is I have a website. It is sallybrookscomedy.com. You can find me at the Sally Brooks on all the social media. So on TikTok, on Instagram, those are really the only two I use. At the Sally Brooks. We also have our podcast is The Ridiculist. You can find us at The Ridiculist Pod. And it's all on every platform. So, listen to that. Listen to this and then come listen to ours.
Does yours have a video on YouTube?
Not yet, but that is part. We do video it, so we do clips, but we have not put it on YouTube yet, but we are gonna. So look out for that. Just keep
Yeah.
checking YouTube.
And then you had a video go viral on TikTok of your son. Would you like to tell the story? It's hilarious. I sent it to all my friends.
That is no longer on the internet.
Did you take it down
I
because
took
he's
it
too
down-
old and you're
No,
worried?
I took it down off the internet because people were getting weird, like gross weird.
Oh
and
my
it
God.
was getting like
It was adorable.
it was
can't
adorable.
even
It was
imagine.
like my son just being really cute, being like, I mean, I can't even describe, but it's very cute. He's very cute, and he's saying like, things that you're like,
Do you want to say? Can I say?
oh yeah, you can say.
So he had an acorn.
He had an acorn,
right?
yeah.
And he called it
He got a nut. No, he
got a
was
butthole.
like, oh yeah, he was like, Mom, can you put this in my butthole?
Yes, he had an acorn.
And I was
he's
like-
handing it to the mom,
I was
saying,
like,
Mom, can you put this in my butthole?
And I was like, you want to put what? That's rock? And he was like, no, it's not a rock, it's a nut. And then I was like, where do you want me to put it? And he was like, in my butthole. And I was like, in your back pocket? He was like, yeah, my butt pocket. He wanted me to put it in his back pocket.
It wasn't creepy.
It wasn't creepy, but
And then people got real creepy.
people got real
And
creepy.
he was like, he had like a little boy
Yeah,
voice, like,
internet's-
it's my butthole.
yeah, he was
Internet's
three.
terrible.
The internet's terrible, and I learned my lesson. I was like, this is
Ugh.
I realized because it had like 16 million views on
16 million.
on TikTok, and like it was mostly very cute, and then people took the video and were posting it on the kind of those big like meme accounts.
Yeah.
So like any of those like Fuck Jerry and all those it was getting posted there without my permission, and then so I would have to be like, hey, can you take this down? That's my child. Like you didn't ask my permission for this, and like why would I let you do this? And plus I'm not getting anything out of it. So I was like, you're welcome to post. I just put an album out. You're welcome to post anything about that if you'd like, but no, take my child off of your,
Like, oh God, get over yourself.
Oh my gosh.
And
But
then-
she's got a law degree. I wouldn't mess with her.
and then somebody like did like a real it was very sexual, and I went scorched earth and like took it off of everything. I like threatened everybody who had it up, was like,
Cease and desist.
Yeah, cease and desist. This is my child. This is how dare you. And then so now it's gone everywhere. But yeah, I did have a video viral for a minute.
I'm exhausted from hearing about that because
it was like I felt like such a bad person. I felt like such a bad mother.
why? No, it was adorable. And you shared a giggle with all of our hearts. And I'm sorry that there's bad people out there. Like if someone's like been all day at the grocery store, at the thing, running around, you finally like get home, you have your cup of tea or vodka, and you you get on the sofa, and you finally get your shoes off, and you're like pull up your TikTok just to relax for a hot second before you have to start doing homework or whatever. And you saw that video, that gave people a little spark of energy to be like, I can do it. I remember when my son was little.
And he was asking me, put things in his bowl.
Naked family.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. This was great. I love you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome. Thank you,
Yay.
Joel.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Joel.
You're like, yeah, me too.